Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are making a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So we're trying to finish up the secondary cinematic here for the demo. And we've got, let me reset some stuff here. Off stream I was fixing the baton touch handling. So now on the mobile deployment, we'll have the buttons rendering and they're using the baton touch input library. So now that's working and we have the buttons kind of rendering there as I press them. So we have this cinematic here where Mage comes down. We need to give it the proper text, but we're just working on the scripting, and then he gives us the element here, and then he basically goes up to his study, triggers a magic wall, and then we have a couple of things left to do. So we've got to also trigger this cinematic if we try to exit before we've talked to him. So if you either go up the stairs, it'll trigger, or if you try to go out, it needs to trigger. And then we have some other stuff we've got to do here, like we need to finalize the text. We need to move dialog box collidables into this cinematic state so that we can open chests in the cinematic state. We need to add collision for that magic barrier, and then we need to store the scene particles in the particle system table for the scene, which we don't have yet. And that's so that that is so that if we leave the mage's castle, come back, we need to be able to see those particles because the magic wall is still there, and right now they only exist in the cinematic state. So once we're done triggering the cinematics, we'll become in the play state. So we need to kind of add the particles for that too. And then also when we render the particle system, we need to render it at an adjacent offset. So I think what we can do is kind of, if we move our particle system into that global scene, then we can update the particle system if there is a particle system for the scene, but maybe not set the emission rate or set the opacity transparent until Mage walks out. And then we either need to like adaptively move the collidables so that we can't walk up the stairs once the particle's there, or maybe we trigger the cinematic when our Y position is equal to just below the wall there, so that there's always a collision there, at least for our player. And then the player's free to walk outside the castle, so then we would need to add a warp zone from Mage's Castle to the overworld outside of Mage's Castle. So there's a couple of things left, right? And then we need the scripting for bottom trigger. So we've got a couple of things to work on. Okay, so I guess the first thing might be, let's get the particles in the global scene, and then we'll make sure we're rendering it at the adjacent offset so that it scrolls off if we go back into the other room. Because right now, if we trigger this, and then if we have him go and trigger the mage wall here, watch the particle system here. Yeah. So we need to fix that. Okay. Now, another thing we're doing is if we load, where are we doing it? if we're in our play state and we load the opening cinematic here, it'll dump us into the first scene of Mage's Castle with the text as a tutorial. So it'll kind of do this. It'll dump us in the bed when we toss and turn in bed, and then we wake up, and then the text comes on screen. This is a little... This backtick I put as select, but that doesn't really read as a backtick, does it? I'm not exactly sure what will be select. We put escape as select, but escape is how you quit the game. So maybe we can, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We have to figure something out for select. I don't know, we can have it control if we really want to, I don't know. Because shift is our B button, so maybe control can be select. I mean, it might be L control like that. I don't exactly know how Baton handles it, but let's see. It is. Okay, cool. We'll do right control as well for select. I don't know. Just to, you know, in case people's keyboards are set up weird. Man, Baton's feeling so nice. It's so nice we can just change it like that now. That's definitely cool. Cool. So we've got our mini map on select. We've got tab being our inventory. Sweet. And then escape will remain exit. In Vim mode, yeah, escape is exit. My keyboard is caps lock is exit. So on nerds computers, the at least. Yeah, my Windows caps lock key is mapped to escape for Vim, so it's okay. Because like I'm a little worried that when I'm playing, I might accidentally hit caps lock instead of tab and quit the game without saving. But that's my fault because I'm on Vim. Okay. So let's try to render our particle system into the scene. Now, when we do this cinematic here, if we were to print up the state that this game is in, it's in the opening cinematic state. Now, we actually change from an opening cinematic state to a play state once we leave this room, which I don't want to actually do. Because right here, text fades on. We can't open this. We can't open this to get our loot because we're in a cinematic state and we're not updating our dialog boxes or checking collision for them here. So we need to put so like we change it to a play state so that we can actually read this stuff. And if we see now the text isn't there and we can actually open this now upon pressing A. So we want to actually stay in the cinematic state, but add this rendering here for the dialog boxes. Ooh, and we also need to change our player's state to cinematic so that we don't accidentally walk around like this. Is that an issue of the state, or is that an issue of... I thought we had that locked, but I guess not. Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of things. Let's see if we can... I want to say when we trigger a dialogue I want to say this is in the scene view. And we do a dialogue collides. No? Okay, so here, I think I want to say that our player is going to change the state into player cinematic so that we cannot update our position. But then we need to go back to an idle. We need to switch back to an idle upon a last key press in our dialog box. So here, if enter is pressed and our current page is equal to our last page here, we need to become unpaused. See, in the paused, I thought the paused should actually stop our player from being rendering. It should stop our scene from being updating. So actually, we shouldn't need to do this. Where did we just edit? We are no longer paused here? Because we should have, yeah, I think if we do paused gets true here, that prevents our scene from updating other than our animatable tiles. This should, okay, so now it stops us. I just want to make sure that our animatable tiles are still updating. Because, yeah, we should paused, yeah, pause should get triggered so we don't accidentally update our player. That also would mean, though, that we can't animate. That would also mean, it would mean we can't animate things while a dialogue box is happening. So right now, we have Mage kind of stomping his little staff while he's talking to us. But we would get rid of that action if we were to do this, as opposed to changing the player cinematic state. It would kind of... Let's see here. I just want to see if in our spawn we would go and still update our flowers. In a dialogue state. It goes for other things too, right? Okay, our flowers and water update, but we cannot move. So that's looking right, even though we give inputs and stuff. Okay, but other stuff like... Oh, shoot. Yo, what just happened? I stopped being able to interact with that one. What the heck? That is so weird. Do we not have one here? We don't have a dungeon or a tavern lightable anymore? Yeah, we took it out. So in our map 7.2, we should have... Yeah, we took out... Oh, the library right here. It should be there. Yeah, it should be there. Library. Huh. Unless we didn't give... No, we gave the right indexes. Why is this one gone now? It's there now. Okay, I don't know what did we trigger that broke that? That was very weird. Okay. Yeah, we'll need to turn this back into a tavern because we have the library now in Mage's Castle. Okay, where were we? We're gonna go back to our castle. And we're going to work on I don't know. I'm not really sold on paused being triggered all the time during a dialogue page read. Because I can imagine, you know, if we add like butterflies to the game or particle systems and stuff, we don't want the game to be paused. We want stuff to still be updating. It's just certain stuff like entities or enemies we don't want to be updating. I don't think we'll be putting any enemies on a screen that you have a dialog box, but I could be wrong about that. Okay, so I think the step now, you know, we have to decide, do we keep our cinematic as 2 things? Because we have like the step system, right? Step 1 through 5 for the first cinematic, and then we trigger a new one. So I think, man, it's complicated because we have to trigger a cinematic upon entering a room if the cinematic hasn't already been played, right? So once we go to finish the cinematic, we have to count, you know, advance the counter saying, okay, we've played this, and then that needs to be part of our save data so that when we enter that room again, it doesn't play the cinematic, doesn't trigger the cinematic again. Okay. Well, for now, we'll keep the pause for the dialogue system, and then let's just try to work on getting the dialog box updates and collision detection working in a cinematic state, and then we'll worry about if we need to change approaches with that. So it looks like we have the dialogue detection here in the play state, and it's a dialogue detection as well as a treasure chest detection. So if while we're colliding, you know, the treasure chest works like there's an interactable dialog box, so it's like you're talking to the treasure chest and the treasure chest responds with whatever is in there. But also we should trigger that special show off with the bright side image when we open a treasure chest, which we don't have at the moment. We'd probably put that here, you know, do a similar kind of rendering. We'd probably have to add it to, man, we would have to add it, I don't know, we're kind of doing it only in the cinematic state right now, so we'd have to make a little function for it to do our vignette as well as our bright side picture. Okay, so at the very least, we need this dialogue detection triggering. All it is we listen for the A button press. We cycle through our dialog box objects in our current scene. Now, if the dialog box, if our player collides with that given dialog box and it's not already activated, then go ahead, become activated. Let's reset our text. Let's snag that dialog ID, an active dialog ID for our scene, and then also check if it's a treasure chest in order to open the chest that's inside the collidable map objects table. Yeah, this method only works, you know, we can only have one treasure chest in a scene with this current method, but that's okay for now. So let's take this and we'll put it in our opening cinematic. And we'll do that here. We've got a bunch of junk we don't need. I'm just gonna put it right here. Let's delete this. Okay, let's test if we can render our dialog box while we're in the opening cinematic state. So we'll trigger it here. Nope, wrong one. Our two cinematics are split up into an opening cinematic and a mage cinematic, mainly for the steps to be kind of separated, but we might just combine them into one, which would make the triggering easier on us, because it would only trigger upon a new game. Otherwise, it would just render. So let's see. We can open it. We're not updating our dialog box, so we are not rendering our dialog box. So we have to go make sure that when we render our dialog box, man, I have to delete that junk, man. There's so much junk in there. Where do we render our dialog box? It's not in our play state, it's in our scene, I believe. Yeah, right here. We render. Yeah, we've got to go and clean out all of our comments at some point soon, because it's getting so bogged down. We'll add it to our opening cinematic render, just at the end here. Okay, let's see if we render our dialogue here in the opening cinematic. No, it did not. 445 in opening cinematic. It did not like that. We did not assign a dialogue ID to the self. We have to do it here to the scene view. Let's try that. Yeah, in future scripting scenes like this, I think it'd be nice if we kind of tether the positions to the steps so that we can just say, hit us up this cinematic at step 8, which leaves us right here with the current stuff rendered and everything. Shit. Okay, it doesn't like that. Let's see how we're assigning the active dialogue ID, because we just kind of plopped it. Here, dialogue. Actually, yeah, we have it right here. We are active dialogue ID not equal nil. We're already doing this. Is this a 1019? One pro to switching cinematics based on the scene is that we don't have to well, I guess this 1019 should probably be locked to the scene view current map row anyway. Yeah, 1019 is the bedroom. So Scene view, active dialogue ID. We say if the active dialogue ID, actually if the dialog box at the active dialogue ID does not equal nil, let's go ahead and render it. That is working because we're rendering it when we leave and come back. Well, actually no, because then we change state. So let's just see how we assign. Let's keep this old one and see if that works. When we snag the dialogue ID, I just want to make sure we're grabbing the right thing. See, so we have a self dialogue ID here in the opening cinematic, and I don't think we have a dialogue ID initialized here. Okay, I'm gonna dump all this junk. I don't want to see this anymore. Okay, so we press action. We're cycling through the map, the scene we're currently in, cycling through all the dialog box options, which should be the only one for the loot. We're checking collision on our player and that dialog box. As long as it's not activated, we're going to become paused. We're going to flush the text, become activated, snag the dialog ID to our cinematic class, and also active dialog ID from the dialog ID of the dialog box that we pass in as a parameter. Then we're going to change our scene view's active dialog ID to B. Okay, so do we use active dialog ID anywhere in the render here? We use the scene view's active dialog ID. So what if we... It says weird. It says a weird way to pass things around because, you know, because the dialog ID is the index in the global table of dialog box objects. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, depending how many dialog box objects are in the scene. But then the active dialog ID is the one we actually trigger by interacting with it. So I don't know. It's kind of, I think we're doing something unnecessary with the dialog ID, but let's see if we are. We should be rendering the loot one here. No. Fuck. Okay, we know this works once we leave and come back. So we know the play state is treating it right. Okay. I don't see why it's not working. And I don't think it, yeah, this is only in the opening cinematic, so it's got to be something to do with the cinematic itself. If we're in a play state, it works fine. So it should be, it's either we're doing this wrong. Let's try to do this at the current scene row and column. Shit, man. We could not be changing our scene view when we switch it like we could. Well, no, because then, yeah, even when we go to the map explicitly. Oh, god dang, this is 17, yeah. So if we had two errors, or 20, 19, 18, if we had two errors and we didn't assign the scene view upon the scene transition, which, I don't know, I feel like we would do that, then this would only render if we said 18. Let's see. Shit. Man, I was not expecting to be stuck on this. This is the old way. Oh, fuck. We only have this in a castle step 4. We are stupid. Yeah, this is old. Okay, let's try this. Son of a bitch. Fuck. You know, we know we're triggering the dialog box because we can see the gray for it. What isn't working is the update. So I think that's the only thing we're missing is just, you know, this in the update we're checking for collision to actually activate it, but we're not actually updating it. So I think that's all we have to do. Okay, so let's just go here to our opening cinematic. Well, after we activate it, right, we need to cycle through, and I don't like... Yeah, let's have to do... we'll cycle through our current scene. Man, I am so sick of typing this. We cycle through the dialog box objects of our current scene. And we take that value and we update it so that we can see the pages of text. That should work. Hallelujah. Uh-oh. We need to update only the active dialog ID. So yeah, we need to update only the active dialog ID. So we're going to say if the value of the dialog box is what? This is wrong. We don't want to do this. I think we want to, yeah, we only want to update it if it's active. So we have to go to the dialog box at the index of the self.active dialog ID. Only update that one. That should be it. Son of a bitch. Yeah, if this does not equal nil, meaning there is an active dialog box in... Yeah, because we set active dialog ID to 0 if there's nothing active, or we set it to nil, so the table at index nil would be nil, so we wouldn't update it. So now I'm hoping it'll work. Son of a bitch. The V's a nil value. Oh, yeah. This is weird. Okay, that should be it. Finally, that should be it. Then I guess that means we still have to transition from opening cinematic to mageIntro cinematic. Man, what? How do we change the text there? Oh God, fuck. We don't clear the active dialog ID once we finish printing, but that's in the dialog class. I thought that would have been taken care of. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. We don't? Oh, we don't. How are we flushing the active dialog ID in the scene view? Because this is working everywhere else. You know, we set it to nil. Wow, that's it. So how do we nullify it? What the hell? How are we nullifying this? Okay, we nil it here. If we press B, okay, that's one way. But then this way, we do it. We do nillify it from our scene view. Okay, so we need to do our scene view active dialogue ID, not the cinematic. Oh my god, we're going to the opening cinematic. We're looking for when we render our dialogue or update our dialogue. Yeah, let's forget setting it for... We'll forget setting it for the cinematic, and instead we'll just use it from the scene here. So we don't want to do the self active dialogue ID, we want to do the scene views. Active dialogue ID. Okay. Okay. We'll see. This should be it. I keep saying that, but this should be it. Son of a bitch. Okay, also if we render, I think we want to do it based on this active dialogue ID. Man, this was not supposed to be the tricky part. Okay, cool. We need to fix the freaking text from changing, right? So we just need to, when we do our set, we just need to set the font appropriately right here. It's either small font or classic font. Jeez, I really should speed that up. Okay, that looks right. Now, when we do this, we don't change our font back there. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're in a global cinematic state at the moment, but as soon as we leave here, we do an event trigger to stop rendering the tutorial text over there, but we also change to a play state, so we can still advance. Oh god. Shit. But if we were to go back, I'm curious if we were to go back if the treasure chest is still open. I think it would be. Let's try, let's see. So we grab it. It's still closed. Oh, we reset it just for testing. Okay. We have to go and do that. That was just because I was testing opening it, so we do manually close it, but treasure chests open state is something we would need to add to our save data, because once a treasure chest is open, it's just non-interactable, I guess. And then instead of changing to a play state, we're going from a cinematic state here when the text is on the screen. Then when we go here, we're changed into play state. And then we don't trigger the cinematic, the mage intro cinematic, until we hit the T button, but we need to trigger it based on a Y position of our player. That's one thing. Okay, yeah, see, that's one thing I don't like. Well, okay, so now we need to be step 0 in our mage intro cinematic until our player's at a certain location to trigger step 1, because I don't like to clog up our scene view logic with checks to trigger a cinematic in a current scene. I don't want to do that, so we'll change this scene to the cinematic. Now that we're allowing the dialog box updates and renders here in the library, we should be able to then trigger the cinematic step 1 based on a Y position. So let's say, yeah, we go from our opening cinematic, and when we go to a change state to a play state, we actually want to go right here, state machine change to play state. We do this based on the camera X for our right scene transition. So we're going to say we're actually going to change state to the mage. What was it? G state machine. Mage intro top trigger. That's jacked up. We'll probably call that mage intro instead of top trigger, because this cinematic will trigger one of two options, a top trigger or bottom trigger. That changes with the tween value for Tashio, or just the overall how we tween him. Okay. So now in the mage intro, we want to be a step 0 when we init. Okay, so step 1, we don't tween our mage until we're hit on step 1. So we need to then, we're saying here, if the player's Y is smaller than the tile size, let's go ahead and trigger that step 1. So if we start walking upstairs, we'll trigger that step 1, hopefully. Now this... we'd have to hit T to switch to our mage state. So we don't have our dialog box updates, probably because we added it to our opening cinematic, but not our other thing. Yeah, we need the trigger here. We need to figure out a way how to do this better. We have a dialog check for a collision in the update, but we also need to do the render and the update. Like this is like the dialog detection, but then we need the dialog update, then we need the dialog render. So where is this should be the update right here. Okay, then we just need the render. And this should be not hard-coded 1018. Not the self-active dialogue ID, but the scene views active dialogue ID. Okay, let's see if we trigger a step 1 here upon a Y position. Oh, son of a... Okay, hit T. We now have the rendering for the dialog box objects, which is good. Seems to be working. Oh! Well, it triggered. We just didn't account for the X position, so we have to make sure that the X is also within range. You know, our X or our Y shouldn't have been higher than a tile size there, though. Maybe, yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, so that's wrong. We need to also check for a step 1. Where do we do this? In our mageIntro trigger, yeah. We need to see also our GPlayer's X position needs to be greater than what we need to see. Tile size 1 would be here, so tile size 2, 3, 4. Greater than 4. Smaller than 6. Ugh, fuck. It needs to be both greater than 4 and smaller than 6. Okay, so we don't trigger it here. We don't trigger it here, but if we trigger it here, fuck, it doesn't trigger. Son of a... Okay, it does trigger. It does trigger. Okay, I didn't activate our cinematic here because right now we're activating it based on a transition from an opening cinematic. But I can also hit T to just dump us in that state as well, which once the FPS is turned off, it'll do that. Okay. Let's do smaller than or equal to the tile size, because if we add the collision box there so we can't walk through I mean in general, smaller than or equal to, smaller than or equal to. Okay, let's just make sure we don't trigger it from the other sides too. Okay, we don't trigger it here. Don't trigger it here. We can read the book over here, that's cool. And then we trigger it right there. Cool. Great. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, see how we're triggering this again. Yeah, we're triggering a step 1 based on the Y position. So whenever we go back up there, it'll stop us. So I think what I want to do... Yeah, I think what I want to do, we need to test adding a collidable box the size of 2 tiles right up there in the stairway so that we can't walk up past it. And then we need to... But in order to trigger the thing, we need to walk partially up the stairs. So we have to populate the collidable map objects into the current scene once we've walked up there. But then we need a way to carry it over in the save state, or we just add it to the global collidable map objects, right? Okay. So yeah, kind of like how we're doing for the bed, for the bed frame, we're adding little collidable objects so we can't walk there. So I'm kind of thinking that all we do is put a collidable map object on the stairs, and we trigger this shit. Because yeah, we don't want to trigger this again. So it's like once it's played, we want to say we don't assign our step 1. We have a flag that says like this has already been played or something, and then we need to make sure that carries over in the save data, so we don't accidentally trigger it when we walk up to the wall again. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break. I'll be right back. Okay. I don't know, I'm still kind of thinking about how to do this, because if we're triggering... I kind of want to say that we make this trigger a little deeper than the exact stairway, so you can walk partially up the stairway. And then at this point, we do that insert into the collidable tables at this global scene, which should then prevent us from walking up there again and triggering it. Yeah, let's see how we're doing the bed triggers here. Like we have this. All this stuff, yeah, it's literally just a collidable map object into the scene. So let's just test this out, where we can say in our mageIntro, let's just part of the init, let's just test this out, and we're gonna say not in the scene, or yeah, not in the init actually, unless we hard code it. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, because we can't use the global scene view because we're not changed to the correct one just yet. So we have to kind of say, yeah, 1019 is this scene. And collidable map objects, it's an X, a Y. Oh, wait, 1018. It takes in a row and column, X, Y, width, and height. Okay, that's a little weird. So row and column, X, Y, let's just say We're going to do this tile size times 4. And tile size times 6. So, well, no, just 0 actually on the Y. Okay, width and height is just a tile size. And let's go to our collidable map objects and just turn rendering on for them so we can make sure that we do have one inserted into the scene here. I don't see it. But it's also only in the cinematic, so we'd have to put T on there. There we go. So, see how we triggered it? Yeah, we triggered it. So we want to move the trigger so it's a little deeper. Yeah, not equal to, but it'd have to be. Let's see if we just do smaller, if it'll even let us. Because I feel like our collision would lock us. No, it's because of the top collision shrinkage that we've got there. Oh, well, yeah, so look, we can't, ooh. Okay, so it kind of did it. Yeah, we want to trigger it right away, but we also want to, so maybe what we do, is we insert this just beneath. Shit, no, there's still the same issue. So the issue is we need to allow our position to go somewhere to trigger, but then we need to, oh, I guess we would just, okay, let's only insert these if our player gets that deep, you know? So like if we're smaller than, we'll do a Y of, oh yeah, if the Y is smaller than, let's say like halfway into it, so you have to kind of like walk up past the stairs, so it shouldn't trigger right away now. It should do it. Yeah, so see, like this doesn't trigger it, but if we go a little higher, then the collidable map object gets there, and then if we were to try to walk up there now, it should stop us from triggering it again. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, we just need to add the other one there. Okay, I think that's the move. So we need another one of these at one more tile over, so they don't exist. So the other thing is, this only exists in the cinematic, but we need them. Shoot. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we still need something to do it so that these don't get inserted. Oh, no, we have it. We just have to make sure we carry them over once we save, right? Because if we were to do this, and actually this will probably work if we leave here and come back. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So those are all the collidable map objects. Yeah, so that's back. So that'll prevent us from walking up there or from triggering the animation again. You know, it might trigger based on a lower frame rate if we were on a phone triggering only 30 FPS. No, we're doing the step. Okay, no, we should be good. Yeah, we're calculating the collision based on steps, so the FPS shouldn't matter anymore. That was the thing that took me like 3 days to figure out. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we just need to make sure we add all collidable map object states into the save file for our bits or save, so that when you start a new game, it doesn't exist as a collidable map object, but if you're in this scene in the mageIntro cinematic and you trigger it via going up or going down, we need to add these to the collidable map object table. Okay, so let's turn render off for it, and we'll work on the bottom trigger. Okay, so what I don't like about this is we could do the little mousey. Yo, I do not always know what to do. I really I just take it one step at a time, right? So there's plenty of things I do completely wrong most of the time, and then I have to come back and undo it. Or like, stuff like, I spent maybe 4 hours today rehauling the button renders for the mobile deployment because I did it all wrong. I didn't scale it via the scaled resolution, so it would work only at a specific resolution for touch devices. So I kind of had to rehaul it to do any sizes. So I basically do what works, and then when I find out it's broken, I just try to do it better. And most of the time, the first attempt is broken. So we have to also trigger the step 1 if our player goes down out the doorway, right? So we need to check the Y position. So we're going to say if the player's Y is below the very bottom of the tile of the screen, so it's a 8 tiles high. So if we're taller than the top of that 8th tile, we need to trigger this step 1. Right, but then the same thing, we have to only do this. Yeah, see, and this one's different because we're kind of blocking the coordinates that we're using to trigger step 1. So once we initialize step 1 here and get tweened to upwards, we'd have to also change we have to go to our player and change the animation to be walk up so that we flip from a walk down to a walk up. But then once it's done playing out, by the next time we try to exit the cave, it'll trigger step 1 again, which will be wrong. So we do have to carry over some sort of state in the cinematic. Or no. Once we're done, once we're done with the cinematic here, like once we're done with step 9 or whatever, we would then change to a play state, which would then not trigger a step 1. So we'd go out of the state machine, and this state machine only gets triggered from the opening cinematic when you start a new game. So we shouldn't have to worry about that. Let's see. So if we're greater than tile size times 7, which should be, because tile size 1 would be the very top of the second tile, so 7 should be the start of the 8th tile. So let's see if we trigger a step 1 when we exit beneath. Okay, so we're going to try to exit beneath here. Okay, didn't trigger. We need to be in our cinematic, so let's try that again. Okay, nice. It didn't change to walk up. It did not change to walk up. I think we need to change our direction too. Yeah. It really is. And the thing is, like, it's so jacked up. Like, code isn't very hard to understand in like a... Damn it. I was going to say... Why is it... Change animation, walk up. That should be it. I was gonna say, like, I'm best at debugging this game because I know how it's jacked up, right? It's like if someone were to just look at this code base and try to figure stuff out, I think they would be toast. Like, until they look, you have to just like really explore the code base before you understand how it's kind of working. And I'm just the most versed in this code base, so it's easiest for me to debug it, at least when it comes to the more complex stuff. Like, there's still some basic stuff I have no idea, but when it comes to like my certain kind of mess up, because I'm responsible for the code base, I'm the best guy for the job for the most part. What am I even looking for? I think I'm looking for the entity definitions here. And I'm just seeing if we change. Yeah, walk up. It should be walk up like that. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, you know what? Yeah, oh, okay. We're changing it here. So look, walk down. We take walk down. Oh, we change, actually, walk down here. We don't do that in step 1. We need to do that based on which type of trigger. So if we trigger the top, we're going to trigger the walk down, but we change to the walk up if we trigger the bottom one. So we're going to try to do this. We should be a walk up here. Nice. Okay. I don't like, you know, we tween too far. Let's try to put the tween for Tashio one tile lower. So we'll say that the Y is at ×4 here. And let's just see what that looks like. I don't like, so like if you look like right here at the corner, when we trigger this, Tashio gets dragged through the corner just a bit. Yeah, see, I don't like that. Okay, I get that. And then we also need to trigger the next step based on the new tween location, which we should probably have like an end position Y as a variable there, but okay, so we go here. This is cool. I like that space. Now that tween speed seems better. I just want to make sure that from the top one, the speed seems okay too. He does kind of walk. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. He walks a little fast. Maybe we can tween over the course of 2 seconds instead of 1.5, and it'll look a little better. How did we do that? Yeah, he walks a little far away, right? He walks a little far away. Looks a little weird. Okay. See, and then we trigger it again there. Okay. We do need to change to a play state upon step 9, but that'll stop rendering our particle systems because it's part of the cinematic and not part of our global scene. So we do need to still merge that over, but I don't like the tweens here. I feel like the Y position is fine for the bottom trigger. Hey Rook, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. I think I don't know. I like the bottom trigger tween. I don't like the top. I want the top to be the old trigger. So we might tween these values. We might do all of this based on a certain option. So this would be actually option 2 because this is the bottom trigger. And then I want the old, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Kind of weird to do it like this. Yeah, it is strange to change the speed of the mage. So maybe he walks at the same. We might keep, because the tween, since it's a time thing, depending on where his start position is, that determines the speed, not the time of the tween. So we do have to change this to ×3. Okay, so now we need to change the option. You know, we can initialize an empty option here in the init. And then we trigger an option 1 for a top collision. And then option 2 for a bottom collision. So that we can give unique tween values to Tashio depending on what collision, because I don't like this cut. He gets dragged through. What are you doing? 210, you don't like? What's going on? If step 1, then if option 1, do this. Oh, I see. We're missing an end right here. Okay, shit. Okay, so let's see the top trigger. Now we're doing a different Y value for Tashio. So top trigger, he comes down here to this row, and then he walks closer, like right up to us, gives us the element, then he walks away. But if we go to bottom trigger, it is still kind of weird. If we do this and we trigger the bottom, we still need to fix the tween through the corner of the wall here. Yeah, I don't like that. And then when he walks close, he's not as close to us. It's just that I don't know why I think it looks better when he walks up to not walk all the way up there to him, because Mage has only got to go 3 tiles. So if Tashio has to walk like 5 tiles to get to him, it's just a little much. I just think it looks better like this. Then we need to trigger a play state here upon this last step, and also move the particle system so it's in the scene and not the cinematic. Yeah, and then we won't have this double trigger because we'll be in the play state and not the cinematic state, and we only trigger the mage to walk in if we're in the cinematic state. Okay. Yeah, let's do if option 1. Before we do this, we kind of need to before we tween, we kind of just need to move our player up. So let's just say that our player's Y is going to get higher. So we're going to subtract the player's walk speed times delta time. That should walk him upwards. Oh my god. What did we just do? We should walk him upwards, but then we only want to trigger the tween stuff if our player's Y is smaller than the tile size. You know, he needs to walk straight up to come out of the doorway before he tweens over to the right. So if he tweens, the bottom would be a tile size times 7, so he would have to be smaller than a tile size times 6. Then we would do this tween check. Okay, so if we trigger a bottom collision here, he should walk perfectly straight up for about one tile and then tween over on the X. Nope. This should be smaller. Okay, let's try that. Uh-oh. Oh, look how slow he's going. Oh. Well, that is more what I'm looking for. That is what I'm looking for. It's just that. What? His walk speed? Why is his walk speed so slow? What do we define his walk speed to be? It's a player walk speed? Yeah, player walk speed. Whatever that is. Whoa. That was way too fast. What are we missing here? That looks right. Well, other than the tween. Fuck. Okay, we're not triggering the step advancement here for some reason, even though our Y value for the tween is the same. Oh, I think this is screwing it up. Okay. Nice. I don't know. I think he walks too fast still. We either need to tween him a little faster. Yeah, let's leave that as is, and we'll just tween him a little slower, actually. Ooh. Still looks bad. Tween him a little faster. Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. Okay, it's good enough. It's good enough for now. Okay, so the next step is we just need to move our particle system out into the scene. Yeah. So one issue with this is like, if we look at the particle system, as soon as it gets triggered, it does like this initial blast. It does this initial blast of particles, and then it kind of slowly starts to be consistent. So watch as he walks away here. It does this blast of particles, and then it stops, and then it kind of trickles in as constant. That's one thing I want to fix. And I think it does this. I think it does this because the way the particle system works is it has X amount of particles to make, and it has an emission rate. Right now it's like at 400 particles. And there's a lifespan parameter, set lifespan for the particle here. So I think what's happening... Oh, we have 500. That's probably too much. Yeah, we have this particle lifetime, right? It's a random number between 2 seconds and 4 seconds. So it gets stable because our emission rate is 500 particles. So I think it's shooting to have 500 particles emitted, but it can't emit new ones until the old ones die off, and the life cycle varies. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if we change the particle lifetime to be a constant number, if it looks a little different. We have to go through his whole spiel again, though. Yeah, see, it does. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's got this kind of... Let's see, particle lifetime of 1. Let's see. I think I want to move the door one over to the right because it's just... Oh, yeah, not quite right. Oh, we need to insert the collidables on a bottom collision too. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we need to do this. Yeah. Okay, option 1. When option 2 gets triggered, we also need to insert those collidable objects so we can't walk up there. Yeah, I want to scoot over the door one. We need to render over the particle system too. That looks so jacked up. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this 2 and 4. But when we go to do the render, where are we doing our P system render? Right here. Yeah, we're doing this. We need to do this before our player. And we render our player. You know what? This is bad. This should, yeah, we're going to move this to the scene. Because the thing is, we render the scene here. Then we render, actually, where are we rendering our player? Our player's in the scene. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we put our particle system here. It'll still render over the player. another reason to put the particle system in the scene so that we can control the render order layer, because we should be above the particles here. Okay. Okay. There was something else I wanted to test. I'm blanking on it. What was it? Oh, we want to move this doorway. Yeah, we want to move this doorway. So let's do that. So we export that as the global map. Now we need to change our X for the option 2 trigger. Yeah, to be actually, yeah, this should be right, actually, because we're tweening to the same value. This might work, actually. Let's try it. Okay. Yeah, that X tween feels better to me. I want to put a new doorway there. I want this doorway to be like light shining inwards. To signify that it's outside. Because we've got these little like windows with light coming in. But the issue is we only have room for, right now we're only doing one top level tile render. If we try to render light, since it's already a doorway, the doorway is the top level tile that renders above us. So if we wanted to add light here, we couldn't, unless we add a secondary top level tile render, which I don't really want to do. Because we've already got 3 layers of global tiles, and anytime we add 1 layer, that's 1,000 tile IDs we have to store. Not that it's a huge deal, it's just that most of them, like 99.9% of them, are going to be zeros. So, I don't know, maybe we just make like a brighter gray down there and see if it looks better. You know, make 1 tile instead of a table of 1,000 tiles different, so. Something like that. You know, I want it to be visually different. I don't know, it looks weird. Yeah, I don't know. I think it should be the same color as this white coming in. It just looks too yellow. Maybe we could do like a little bit of dithering or something. So these windows we've got right here, it should be this color. Yeah, and then we can add like a little bit of dithering maybe. You know, I want it looks too checkerboard. Fuck, I don't know. Let's see if that looks okay. Not quite. Yeah, maybe that looks good. Okay. So yeah, it looks like that's like the exit, right? Because it's bright outside. I don't know. I feel like the light should pour in a bit. You know, probably should go. Yeah. I think it might be flush. Yeah, let's try to make it flush bright, I think. I don't know, it still looks weird. The other one was better. That's not bad. I think one more layer of bright pixels and then that little dither, and then it might look good. Yeah. Okay, I'm liking that. Yeah. I think it's pretty apparent that it's outside. Right? There's the dark tunnel and then the bright tunnel outside. Okay. Okay. Well, we could try to outsource the particle system to the scene now. Guess we probably should. We've got, what, 3 weeks till the demo's due? Yeah, we got 3 weeks. We gotta get going. So, yeah. Let's try, let me think. If we give our scene a particle system table, we could insert an empty table. There's a couple ways to think about this, because right now we've got... Yeah, it's really jacked up. Because we've got a particle system for different stuff, right? Like lava, sand, rain, snow. We've got those particle systems. And right now they're global, so we can kind of... Let's just walk through and show what it looks like, right? So if we have, what, snow, particle, snow system... In our map, we have a snow system. Okay, so maybe it isn't global. No, we do have one in the play state. Okay. So we have a snow system in the play state. And we're updating it in the play state. And if we go to render it, here in the play state, let's see what happens. So we can render okay, so we just make sure we update our snow system in the play state. This is just an example to show how the particle systems are working. So we've got this snow particle system, and it's doing the same thing, right? It does that initial blast, and then it goes to a stable amount. Now, what isn't good about this is actually, you know, this is okay, because see, the snow isn't shifting on a scene change because it's in the play state. So I'm trying to think of how, you know, we might need global particles exist outside of our scene, but I'm trying to think about, yeah, no, we like, I want to avoid this kind of initial blast of particles, and I think it has to do with the emission rate and the particles that are supposed to be emitting. Like the when you make a particle system, you have to define how many particles it is. So I think the emission rate kind of just blasts it all out, and then it finds a stability once they've hit their decay cycle at that random time. So if we were to move our particle system, you know, we might have a weather particle system where they're global like this, so that over a scene change, they're because like the issue is if we had our weather particle system in the scene, like we're planning on doing like Mage's Wall back here up the stairs, then whenever we would change the scene, these particles would shift off, and then by the time current map is fully stationary, we would then update the particle system and then render, and it would do another blast. It would do that blast of initial particles again for the weather, even though the snow would probably be going, you know, from scene to scene. So I like it global for the weather, but for for other stuff, for scene-based ones, we do need to put it in a table. So let's see if we can figure that out. So okay. So in our map declarations, we make a bunch of tables like this for every scene. So we need a particle system table for each scene. So this gives us, oopsie. Okay, this gives us a particle system table in our scene. But we need, the particle system needs a bunch of stuff, right? It needs a init, update, and render, which is why in the past for snow system or lava system, we've made a class for these things. Because we need to be able to say, let's do a table.insert into our particle systems, an object that has the init, the update, the render. So we can say, you know, let's render the particle systems from the global scene. We just cycle through all the particle system objects that are in there, update all of them, render all of them, and then they're local to the scene. So let's test this out with an instantiation we already have of something like our snow system. So here in the, it would be in the it would be in the map declarations, I guess. Yeah, it really would be. Do we have any P systems? No, we don't. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking let's just try to do this, and let's just say let's add into our row 10 scene 18 19 actually. We're gonna go into that scene's particle systems table, and we're gonna table.insert a value. You know, table.insert takes a value, then a table, right? Table.insert list and then value. So the list is the particle systems, and the value is an object of a snow system. So let's just see if we can insert a snow system into only the scene we're at, right? Which is gonna be where we add the mage wall. Just want to make sure it doesn't crash. So here, if we were to, this is a 1019 scene, so that should have a snow system particle system inside of it. So now in our scene update, we're going to say, yeah, actually, right before we do our render, we're going to cycle through our current map, right? So we're going to go to our scene views, current maps row. And column. And we're going to go into our particle systems table. And that's what we're going to loop through. And we're just going to take the particle system in there and make sure we update it over time in our scene update, which is also being updated in the cinematic. So we should also be able to do the same thing, but we have to change the render order layer, right? At least in, let me think this through, because I can imagine some particles, ideally we do some render order layer based on Y position. That is just too crazy. Because, if there's like a fire, for example, and it's emitting particles, if we're on top of it, the fire should be rendering above us. But if we're in front of it, below it, we should be rendering above the fire particles. So the render order would need to change based on the Y position. I don't know how to do that with particles that are getting updated, though, in a particle system, because we'd have to... Yeah, that's weird. It's weird. I guess all of the particles would render on top or beneath us, depending on our Y location, but yeah, it's very, very particular. I guess for right now, we'll do where we render in front of them, so we can always see our character clear. If we need something like that, we can modify this based on Y position or something. So let's do, we render our player. So right before we render our player, let's cycle through our particle systems of the current scene and render them, which in this case would be snow. So let's see if snow is only in this scene. Okay, it doesn't like that. It probably, well, I don't know what it... Attempt to call global pair. Oh, it should be pairs with an S. Okay, there's our snow in our scene, not our global. So look, if we need to also add a render parameter to give the offset so that, see, and what's cool is like once it's updated, it doesn't do that abrupt start because it's already kind of established. So we just need to add a render parameter of an adjacent offset to our particle system so that it would scroll off screen. So yeah, when we render this, we need to pass in a, what is it, self.adjacent offset? How do we do it? It's the current map's adjacent offset X. Okay. Now let's see. I know we're doing this. You know, we're doing this on a render for an entity. So let's look at the entity here. So the render takes in this. Okay, yeah, this is what I always forget. So we need to add this adjacent offset X as a parameter to the, in this case, the snow system render. Actually, all of the particle systems, but we should probably do this. Yeah, we should probably do this with a new class so that we don't accidentally add unnecessary code, because this stuff is supposed to be global, so I don't want to update the snow system. Okay, snow system. Let's do a new particle system, and it's going to be mageIntro.Lua. Yeah, part of me wants to just figure it out for snow system. We can undo it. It's just like I'm a little daunted trying to do this. Let's see, snow system. Let's try to do the adjacent offset. Well, if you look at what we got to do, our render takes in an adjacent offset, and what it does is it moves our X and Y position to be that adjacent offset, or 0 if we don't pass it. Then it renders, and then we update by a negative adjacent offset. So we basically, like, we have to do this because if we just assign it and keep assigning it an adjacent offset, it would become more and more off. So we have to offset it, render it, un-offset it, so that when we need our offset again, our X is getting scrolled and we don't offset it by twice as much. So that's the daunting part, but it's actually not bad. So let's just, okay, it'll be okay. Okay. So yeah, we need to go to this magic wall. Okay, first thing is we need the init. Then we need update and render. Okay, so our init will have all the stuff from our mageIntro. So when we have this particle system here, this P system, okay, so our mage magic wall has its own particle system that is a particle 500. Let's go back to here, and we need to see anytime we update the P system. So we've got the init, we've got the update, And then we've got the render. Okay, so let's add the adjacent offsets. So the thing is, we say the self X and Y gets updated to be the self X minus this adjacent offset, and self Y is also minus this adjacent offset. Then we render at its own location. We need to initialize these to 0. And then we need to unshift these. So this, oh, we did this wrong. We need to, okay, we add the offset, we subtract the offset. That should match with how we're doing the entity here. Yeah, adjacent offset, we just say, oh, we forgot the or 0 if we don't pass it 1. Which I guess for the snow, we wouldn't. But for the magic wall, we would. I guess it's still probably good hygiene to do, or 0. Yeah, okay. Okay, we also need to require this in our dependencies. So I'm going to say that this is required. We shouldn't crash. Cool. Okay, we're still rendering our snow in our scene because that's what we inserted. So let's try inserting the mage magic wall into this scene instead. So we'll go to our declarations. We're not wanting a snow system, we're wanting a mage magic wall here. So now that scene should have the mage magic wall, which it's there, and then look, it's almost there, right? We need to give the adjacent offset so it doesn't keep doing that. But look, once it's established, it doesn't do that initial dump. Okay, so that's close. We just need to give the adjacent offset in the scene. So when we are actually, yeah, we need this P system. We are actually doing it. Yeah, we are passing the adjacent offset X. Let me just to try say that the X is 20 on this and just see if it changes. Yeah, it does. So that should be right. So what's going on? Adjacent offset Y, let's see. When we render our entity, we do it at the current map adjacent offset. Yeah. Adjacent offset. It's close, right? It's really close. You know, I'm just thinking we messed up on maybe the arguments here on the particle system render. No. Okay, is it the next map adjacent offset? No. No. Let's see in the play state. If we go print up what the adjacent offset for the current map is. It's actually here in the scene. We just need to convert it to a string. Huh. Yeah, it is. It is not updating. Is this because... No, we're in our play state. That's weird. We aren't assigning our adjacent offset based on the next map? Is that right? Oh, that's fucked up. Self.current map. Self is the scene. Current map adjacent offset. Yeah, it's in our map. It's in our actual map. Okay, I mean... What are we missing? Because, yeah, here for our entities, we're doing self, current map, adjacent, offset, X. And then in our particle system, we should say... current map, adjacent offset X, yeah. The only thing I could think of is that we're misspelling the parameter or something weird. But no, because this is weird. Our bats should scroll off. Our bats are entities. They're rendering on the adjacent offset. So they're working, right? Because if we go to our player spawn and we try to go to our bats, which is here in 112, is it? And we wait till bats are on screen and we walk off while they're on screen, we should see an adjacent offset here. So 0. Actually, that was the adjacent offset X, so we can't test that. Let's go to our play state. Let's do the Y offset because we're doing a down transition. That's not updating either. So we must have accidentally broke our let's see. The bat should scroll off when we scroll off, right? Yeah, it does. Huh. So the bats do scroll off, but this adjacent offset X isn't right. What? We must also be rendering them. Are we rendering them in the map instead? Yo, Squinch, what up? Yo, we're doing okay. We're trying to finish one last thing before I go to bed here. We're trying to get the particle system in the scene instead of the overworld, so it kind of rolls off once we change screens. But oh, yeah. The adjacent offset is part of the map, so maybe we should render our particle system in the map instead of the scene. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So we can pull it from the scene, but I think when we render, it should be part of the map. So instead of doing the render here, in the scene, we want to put it in the map. So we're going to cycle through the particle system table. We're going to take the value and we're going to render by the map's adjacent offset X. No, not quite. Oh my god, we got this blood particle system. Oh, but look at that. It does go off. So like, yeah, so Squinch, like if we do this, right? It's updating. It's the wrong color, but it's updating and then we go off. And then by the time we come back, it's that constant flow, right? So I do think it's part of the set emission area or the emission rate and the particle spawn stuff. I haven't quite figured that out though. But this is in the map. So if we say this is a map particle system render, we also need to, I guess when we go in our Mage Magic Wall render, we just set the color here. Should be that blue color again. Cool. So we got the blue. Yeah, the initial thing is still weird. Okay, but we do have, you know, we need a, I think we need to insert, instead of doing the map declarations where we put the particle system in, I think instead of doing this, we need to do this in the cinematic. So once we hit, you know, where we were doing the particle system, which right here, this is where, you know, we're, yeah, I guess another thing is in the dialog box we're paused. So the particle system won't be updating in that case too, and that's a case we might want to update the background too, you know. We basically need to trigger this insertion here before we go to a step 9. So when mage walks up and we clear that tween, we're gonna insert into that scene the magic wall, and then we shouldn't need to update this because the map is updated and the scene is updated, so it should just start updating when he walks up. Not like that. Did we not save the declarations to be gone? Did we not save that? Okay. So if we trigger one of these transitions or the cinematics from mage here, he'll do his little spiel, and then it should trigger once he walks off. Yeah, we insert the particle system, and then it's now part of the map, and then now it stays on the scene, and we have the collision detection, so we can't walk up there again. So we're blocked off. That's pretty good. Cool. Now we need to add, oh god. Yeah, we need to change to a play state from here. So once we hit the step 9 in this cinematic, we should change the global state to a play state, not a cinematic state. So we can get rid of the old particle system logic, and now it exists in the map. And when we do a scene or a step 9, yeah, we shouldn't need this either. But we should say global state machine is now going to do a change to a play state. Okay, that should work. Let's see. Okay, we should be in a play state now. Which means we don't accidentally trigger a new cinematic walking down there or we can't walk up there because there's now collidable map objects. So that's looking right. Yeah, so see how the particle system pauses in a dialog box now when we might not want to do that. I also want to change our player's animation upon triggering a dialog box to be the idle, so he's not like mid-step while he's doing it. That's not a huge deal, but yeah. So I guess I have to decide if I want that. We could do, because the other thing is too, if we trigger this, mage used to be like kind of stomping his staff. Oh, see, look, he is stomping his staff while we are in the dialog box here. So even though we're officially paused as far as the game's concerned, the mage is actually still animating, so that's cool. He doesn't do it here, which is kind of weird. Huh. I guess that's good. Oh, we manually changed that. Okay. So yeah, I guess the thing is, you know, we have to, the pros for changing to pause upon a dialog box is that it would pause any enemy entities from walking towards us or NPC collision walking paths from updating while we're reading. But the bad news is stuff like particle systems would pause, and stuff like if we add like little butterflies or something floating around, they would pause too. But we do have animatable tiles that render in a dialog box, so that's pretty good. Okay. Let's take a look at our git diff. basically we now have a global table in our scene for holding particle systems, so that each scene can have a specialized particle system if we want, as well as we still have our global weather particle systems that carry over on top of the scene. We added the new scripting for the bottom trigger for the mageIntro cinematic. We changed some key bindings for select. We now trigger the mage cinematic based on a player's location instead of us pressing a button. And we also add a collidable map object to block the player from accidentally triggering another scene, or allows us to walk partially up the stairs. Then we insert the block so that we can't walk on the stairs anymore once the mage's magic wall is up. We added dialogue box updating and rendering to our cinematic state, which we couldn't interact with before. So now we can actually open the loot treasure chest in the cinematic state. We have two different options for triggering the mage intro with slightly different tween values. You know, if we walk up, we'll tween downwards, we'll walk down and meet the mage in the middle. And if we're down, we walk up and meet the mage in the middle. Yeah, we're adding the magic wall when at the right step. We outsourced the particle system update to the object of mage magic wall so that we can update and render it very easy. And then we change to a play state when we're done with the cinematic so that we don't accidentally trigger the cinematic from a bottom collision again. So now if we add the warp zone, or when we add the warp zone to go from our mage's castle to outside the mage's castle, if we go back in the mage's castle, we should still see the particle system magic wall up there. We have to add our collidable map wall objects into our save data, or yeah, part of me thinks it might be easier to just flush that table in the map declarations, or I think the move is to add the collidable map objects to the map declarations, but then flush it upon an opening cinematic. Then we don't have to store that state because it only should start. It should only be visible. We should only not have collidable map objects there the very first time we play it, and that's going to be most of the game, or that's going to be only at the very beginning of the game. So to have to save and load that data over and over and over when it only should exist when we start a new game is a little weird. So I think we need to add the collidable map object. We clear it upon a trigger of a opening cinematic, and then we insert them at the correct scene in the opening cinematic, and then they're there. If you load the game again and it's not this cinematic, they're still in there because of the map declaration. So I think that's the move. I think we should do that right now before we forget. So if we look at our mageIntro, when we do this collidable map object, we need to render this. We need to insert this in our map declarations. I don't know where it belongs yet, but we should insert them here, and then we should clear this once we change to an opening cinematic. Then we don't have to worry about saving it and loading it every time. But when we change to an opening cinematic, where are we doing it? I think we only do it. It's opening cinematic camel case. Right now we're only doing it if we press Y, which is not right, but we basically want to go, all we want to do is say this collidable map object table is going to be empty at this point in time. Okay, so let's test that out. You know, if we're here, we should, you know, we actually should have them here. So we're actually not able to walk up there now. But if we play the game like we're supposed to and start with the opening cinematic, it will allow us to do this. Because if we come here from an opening cinematic, or we trigger the cinematic manually here, yeah, we got to do it. We probably got to flesh it upon a mageIntro top trigger. Yeah. So now that should work. So right here, this functions as, you know, since we're not allowed to walk up here, it's already blocked. But if we were in the opening cinematic, we can actually walk up there and in order to trigger this. So now we don't have to worry about saving it. I want to say that this, yeah, I mean, this is triggered. Oh man, and this is triggered in two, you know, we trigger it once manually with a T, but the way we really trigger it is from an opening cinematic itself. So when we do that, we have to flush it there. So that should work from the cinematic itself. Let's test and make sure it works. So like right now, it's blocked. But if we load the game, actually I did that wrong. If we load the game from the top, from the opening cinematic, it will then clear it. So now, not now, but once we change to the Mage's Castle's library, it should flush that table so that we're able to interact with it. Then once we're in the play state, it should still be there and we can't walk through it. So you got this, we can open our loot. We need to add the vignette for getting the loot there, as well as the light. But now we should be able to walk up here and trigger it, and we do. Cool. And then by the time by the time he's up there, those are back. So if we were to leave and come back, this is in the play state. So now they should still be blocked. Okay, so that's cool. We don't have to worry about that being saved and loaded. So that's good. I think we'll call it there. Let's look at our notes and see what we've done and still need to do. We still need the better mage text. We need scripting for the bottom trigger. We did that. We need to move dialog boxes into the cinematic state. We did that. Add collision to the magic barrier. We did that. Store scenes particle systems in the scene particle system. It's actually in the map particle system table. Well, yeah. The scene, yeah. It is the scenes particle system, but we render it and update it in the map for the adjacent offset. And then, yeah, we do this, render at the adjacent offset, factor out distance. Okay, that's different. Okay, so we did all that. That's good. I need to update the to-do next. Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of old shit in here that I haven't looked at in years. So, yeah, we have the show off. Yeah, we haven't updated this in a while. Okay. Okay, I'm kind of thinking we just touch up Mage's dialogue right now real quick, and then we'll call it a night. Holy crap, that freaked me. Yo, Bad Tuple, what up? Thanks for the follow. That freaked me out. Yeah, this 13, let's see. This can be dangerous. Okay, yeah. I think we just So Mage is going to come down and say, "You're finally awake. How are you feeling?" And then you don't remember anything. There's much to be learned, but take it slow. Okay. He gives us Flamma. And then he fucks off upstairs, and then we cannot follow him. Okay. So yeah, I still want to figure out that initial kind of that initial dump of particles. I still want to figure that out. But we'll go to our notes real quick, and we'll say that we've still got to do we've got to add show off to the loot, and then we need to hopefully fix that. Okay, yeah, standardized particle emission upon a nit, and we'll kind of see how that works. But other than that, we got a lot done today, so it was good. Yeah, we got a lot done. So we will call it, we will commit, we'll say that it was what we added: particle system to scene, to global scenes, particle system table to global scenes, and then we also scripted bottom mageIntro trigger, and then we also added a couple new sprite stuff and a little other tweaks, but that's about it for the commit message. We'll call it a night. We'll push it. I've got to merge this baton touch branch into main probably soon. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Probably should do it now, but I don't want to do it right now, so we'll do it tomorrow. We'll run credits and find someone to raid out to. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow with hopefully some more progress. Today was good. But yeah, we've got just about 3 weeks until we need to be done with the demo, so we need to finish. Yeah, we need to finish. Okay, I don't see... None of my homies are streaming right now. Any game dev. Let's find someone random here who programs. I want to find a Love developer, Lua developer. Let's search for Lua. No one's streaming Lua. What about Love2d? No one's streaming Love2d. Really? Okay. Like total? Only 2 or 3 Lua devs? I've seen a couple, but like, yeah, I've only seen a couple. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I know a couple. I know Prosto does it. I know Shaky Coder does Lua. I know Chalacade, right? I don't know if he streams on Twitch. I just see him on YouTube. Okay, well, I'm still trying to find someone to raid here. Let's find a team member. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. I don't know if I've ever come across one of them yet. How do I find my team? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Well, there's only 4 team members streaming right now.
Arguments that is healthier right now.
Okay. We'll raid out to this Saniko Games here. How do we do this? Okay, we're gonna raid out to Saniko Games here. I don't know who he is, but he's one of the 4 team members on my team who are streaming right now, and he's like the only one doing game development. So we'll raid out. We'll call it a night. Thanks for hanging, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. Hope everyone has a good night. Thanks for watching.